Okay, and for our favorite application question. So I'm going to forget that they tell you what information that they give you, and we're just going to roll with it. So number one, a local gas station is offering a deal to the customers. If they purchase an $8 car wash, the cost per gallon of gas is $2.60. We should stop there. Cost per gallon of gas. They're telling us right now the slope is $2.60. They tell us that there's a one-time fee for the car wash. Our equation is going to be in slope-intercept form. Our slope is $2.60. That's the price per gallon. And the one-time fee is the $8 car wash. It's important to say what X equals and what Y equals. X is going to be the number of gallons of gas, and Y is going to be your total cost. All right, so we've got our equation figured out. Now let's answer the question. How many gallons of gas can you afford if you have $40? $40 is represented by Y. We replace 40 in for Y, and then we solve it for X. So to do that, we would subtract 8 from both sides. 40 minus 8 is 32. Oops. And then we would divide both sides by 2.60. And 32 divided by 2.60 is 12.3. That means we can get 12.3 gallons with that amount of money that we have. Number two, to sign up for cable service, you must purchase the DVR recorder up front, then pay $19.95 per month for the service. So they tell us you pay up front a one-time fee for a recorder, but they don't tell us the price of that. So we don't know the price of that, but we do know the monthly fee. They also tell us that 8 months after signing up, Martha paid a total of $288.60 for the recorder and the service. So then they want us to create an equation and solve something. So the first thing that I know is that we definitely have the slope. So slope is definitely $19.95. The B value, unknown. We don't know what the DVR actually costs up front, so that's unknown. They do tell us, though, a point. At 8 months, the services, with everything included, cost $288.60. So you have a choice. Since they give you the slope and a point, you can use point-slope form. If you don't like point-slope form, you can just create an equation in slope-intercept form with this information that they give you, which I kind of like that idea better. So what I'm going to do is create my equation. Y equals 19.95x plus B. I don't know what B is, but let's find it. We can find it by replacing 288.60 in for Y and 8 in for X, and then solve this for B. So 1995 times 8 is 159.6. So if I was solving this for B, which is our y-intercept, I would subtract 159.6 from both sides, and I'm going to get that B equals 129. That means that the DVR recorder, the upfront price that you have to pay, is $129. So altogether, the equation is y equals 19.95x. It's $19.95 a month, plus the one-time fee, the $129. That's our equation, and we can use that equation to solve the problem. The problem is, how much will she pay for a 2-year agreement? Well, hold on. One of the things I didn't do at the very start is write what my variables represent, and I'm running out of space, so I'm going to do it in this little spot up here. X and Y should be defined. X is the number of months. I can tell that from the slope. It's $19.95 per month. That means that X is months. And like many word problems, Y represents money because the money that you pay depends on everything else. So, knowing that, if we wanted to figure out how much it costs for 2 years, we're not going to put a 2 in for X because that would represent 2 months. We would have to convert 2 years to months, which every year there's 12 months. So 12 plus 12, 24. We would be replacing a 24 in for X and then solving it out. 1995 times 24 plus 129. If I solve that all out, you get that it costs $607.80 for 2 years or 24 months. Number 3, The cost of a classified ad is based on a daily rate plus a flat service fee. 1 day costs $3.50 and 4 days costs $8. Create our equation. All right, so they give us 2 points. Clearly, I can see that. 1 day, $3.50. 4 days, $8. We know that X represents the number of days, and again, always kind of similar. Y represents the money. If I wanted to create an equation, if they don't tell us specifically what equation to create, I usually prefer slope-intercept form. So to do that, let's first find the slope. 8 minus 350 over 4 minus 1. This is going to equal 4.5 over 3, and 4.5 divided by 3 is 1.5. That's our slope. Let's set it up. Y equals 1.5x plus b, and let's solve this thing for b. So pick a point. I like 4, 8 better. I'm going to replace an 8 in for y and a 4 in for b. A 4 in for x. And then we're going to solve for b. So 1.5 times 4 is 6. So I have 8 equals 6 plus b. That means that b is equal to 2. So altogether, our equation then would be y equals 1.5x plus b. Knowing what we know about slope-intercept form and that they say the cost of a classified ad is based on a daily rate. The daily rate is $1.50, 1.5, that's the slope, plus a flat service fee. The service fee is 2. Excuse me, this should be not a b anymore. This should be a plus 2. All right, now we can answer the question. Solve the equation to figure out the cost for a 7-day ad. We replace 7 in for x and solve it out. 1.5, $1.50 per day times 7 days plus the $2 one-time fee. Altogether, that's going to equal $12.50. And the last one, very similar to the one on the test. So if you struggle with that, here's another recap. Amy deposited dimes and quarters into the Coinstar machine at her local grocery store. The total money she deposited was $11.35. We need to create an equation first and then solve a problem. Our equation for this one, it's not clear that we have a starting point or we have a slope. There's nothing like this per hour or this per day or something that tells us an amount per something. So I'm automatically thinking, all right, I don't have anything specific like that, but I have 2 kind of unrelated variables like dimes and quarters, and I have a total sum. Standard form is an equation that does that. It takes the sum of 2 things and has it equal to something else. This is the equation type that we would need to realize from the word problem that we would need standard form. We've got dimes and quarters. I'm going to say that x is going to be the number of dimes and y is the number of quarters. We know altogether the total amount of money is $11.35. A lot of you struggle with what to do here because there are no other numbers. You have to be able to interpret that each dime is 10 cents and each quarter is 25 cents. You need a 0.10x plus a 0.25y equals that $11.35 to be able to get to the next part of the problem. For this problem, they tell us Amy has 26 dimes. So to figure out how many quarters she has, we'll take 0.10 and multiply it by 26 to figure out how much money she has in dimes. And then from there, I can figure out how many quarters. Well, 0.10 times 26 is $2.60 in just dimes. Oops. And subtracting that from both sides, I get 0.25y equals 8.75. And when I divide that by 0.25, I get y equals 35. That means she has 35 quarters. The last thing I want to do is go over a problem that actually doesn't pop up on this packet of review. So if you want to scroll back up to the front or on the back of your page, on the back of your packet might be best, but for me, I have to just scroll up into some random spot. So I'm going to use this little area right here, but you can use the back of your packet. On the test, we had a problem about finding missing values. Ordered pairs were given, like -2, y, and -4, -1. The question was, if the line passes through these points and has a slope of, let's say for this problem, 3/2, find the missing value of y. A lot of us are still struggling with this. There's two ways to solve this problem. First of all, if we know the slope of this line is 3/2, and we need to find the missing value of the ordered pair here for this to be true, why don't you start using the slope formula? The slope formula says take -1, subtract y, divide that by -4 minus -2, and this should equal 3/2. Simplify what you have. -1 minus y, nothing to do there, but -4 minus -2 is really -4 plus 2, which just simplifies to be -2. Once you have this, you could cross multiply. Multiply 2 by -1 minus y. 2 times -1 minus y equals 3 times -2. And then solve it out. 2 times -1 is -2. 2 times -y is -2y. And then once we solve this, add 2 here, add 2 here. We get -2y equals -6 plus 2 is -4. Divide by -2, and we get y equals 2. The missing value is 2. What we can do then is take our original ordered pairs, -2, comma, we now figured out y is 2, and -4, -1, and verify that the slope of this line is 3/2. -1 minus 2 over -4 minus -2 equals -1 minus 2 is -3. We already said -4 minus -2 is really -2, and -3 divided by -2 simplifies to be positive 3/2, so we're good. That's one method in solving it. Some of you found a different method. You knew that the slope was 3/2, so you decided to create an equation. It's a great idea. Y equals 3/2x plus b. B was not given, so you used the only point that you could that had all numbers in it, replace those numbers in for x and y to solve for b. 3/2 times -4, well 3 times -4 is -12, and -12 divided by 2 is -6. So then we would add 6 to solve, and we get that the y-intercept is 5. So altogether, the equation of this line, which they didn't ask us to create, but if we did it this way, we create the equation of the line, which is y equals 3/2x plus 5, and we can use this information to find out what y equals when x is -2. An ordered pair is an input-output. So if we replace in -2 for x into our equation we just created, we can then figure out what y equals. Well, 3/2 times -2, that's going to be -3. And -3 plus 5 is equal to 2. So we get the same answer either way.